Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at the top 6 fantasy wargames to play in 2024. Now I'm going to be brutally honest, this was a difficult list to put together as the genre is pretty small and I had to be kind of expansive in how I defined it. But the goal of this list is to get your comments below to help me find some hidden gems so I can increase this list from a top 6 to a top 12 in the near future. So on this occasion, it's absolutely key that you get your suggestions down below so I can take a look at the games. Now, of course, always, any game I include on a list, I've played for at least a few hours. It's just something I like to do. People picked up that I left Space Engineers off of the Space Sims list. However, I just haven't played enough of it to legitimately include the title. Right, back to fantasy war games. They are very exciting and fun titles, and I don't see why we haven't got more of them. We do have a recent addition to the genre somewhere on this list called Kingdom Dungeon and Hero, and I've done a mini review here as I did want to feature the title, but with the Steam sale I just ran out of time. Okay, no more messing around, let's jump into the top 6 fantasy wargames to play in 2024. First up on the list we have an honourable mention which Tom reminded me of, so I put it in at the last moment, after I'd recorded the rest of the video. And that game is the Battle for Wesnoth. This is an open source turn-based strategy game with a high fantasy theme and it's free, so you've absolutely no excuse not to go out and check this one out. It's also rated very positive on Steam with a 94% rating. Kicking off this list we have Fantasy General 2. In this title you command legendary heroes and formidable armies in a celebrated turn-based strategy masterpiece. Develop and train your units as you navigate a captivating story-driven campaign shaping the destiny of a world teetering on the edge of ruin. The fantasy wargaming classic returns in this sequel. Of course, this is a follow-up to 1996's Fantasy General. Overall, this is a fantasy wargame for those who like it colourful and vibrant, with the ability to lead over 75 different unit types, including powerful heroes. As the story-driven campaign progresses, you will have to make decisions and develop your army. Essentially, Fantasy General 2 is a great reimagination of the strategy gaming classic and is rated very positive on Steam with an overall 81% rating, but the Steam Deck is not supported. The learning curve here also isn't that great, so it's nice and accessible if you fancy getting into it. Honestly, after looking at this title again, I want to go back and revisit it as I did enjoy it when it came out. And I have to say, there are a number of DLC, only 4, which is pretty conservative these days, so you can definitely expand on your experience. Coming up next, I'm going to feature Total War Warhammer 1, 2 and 3, though I'm mainly going to focus on the latter. It's incredibly hard not to do a war games list featuring fantasy and not have these games on it. Although I wanted to primarily focus on niche and hex-based titles here, I include Warnote and Regiments on my main wargame list, so really the Warhammer Total War series had to feature. And look, there's nothing wrong with that, these games are excellent with an absolute mountain of content. Although the third iteration is probably the most controversial, it is also the conclusion to the series and the one I'm going to talk about. In case you don't already know, in that title you will rally your forces and step into the realm of chaos, a dimension of mind-bending horror where the very fate of the world will be decided. You command your faction on a very well-presented strategic map and then jump into excellent and very exciting tactical battles. I mean, if you're a fan of Warhammer, I'm sure you've already played it, but it is a real visual treat. The game itself is extremely strong and I really enjoy playing it to this day. However, they handled the DLC and the pricing abysmally and it really did hurt the game. In recent times though, the Steam reviews have got kinder as that drama goes further into the past and it is now rated very positive with a 92% rating on recent reviews. It's like, how do I put this? If you wanted the Michael Bay version of fantasy wargaming, then this is the title to pick up on the list. Casting its own spell on this list is Wizards and Warlords. This is an indie turn-based strategy game set in a randomly generated fantasy world. Compete against rival wizards, warlords, roaming worlders, and hidden ancient evils. You're also able to customize your own sovereign or select from a variety of predefined templates. This game blends 4X with grand strategy, simulation and wargaming, and offers a plethora of settings and randomly generated cultures and races, so no game is ever the same. You can decide whether you want to fight great wars crushing your enemies or immerse yourself in an emergent story driven by random events and interactions. The game has a wonderful hex-based aesthetic and is rated very positive on Steam with an overall 86% rating. Right, LT gamers, if you're enjoying this list or you're new here, make sure to like, comment your recommendations and what you think of the games on the list, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support LT Gaming, do hit the join button below, or you can always come and have some fun in our Discord. We appreciate all the interaction that we get. Next up, we have Shadows of Forbidden Gods. Assume the role of a Dark Elder God and guide your agents to usher in an apocalypse, all contained within a fantasy world. Operate from the shadows, evading heroes determined to stop your plans as you unleash plagues and famines, ice ages, and volcanic eruptions, madness, and eternal night. Sounds really nice. This game takes a very different turn, allowing you to play a set of agents and corrupted heroes against the forces of good. Designed as a truly flexible apocalypse simulator, this game allows you to mix and match your toolsets with unique agents and varied effects, while the human forces respond dynamically to what you are doing. The game also has a stellar rating on Steam at 93% very positive and is rated playable for the Steam Deck, though does have quite a steep learning curve overall. And we move ever onwards to Dominion 6: Rise of the Pantocrator. In this game, you command a powerful entity that rules a nation and seeks out godhood. You can play as pretender gods that range from a magically adept archmage to an ancient dragon or even a colossal tree. The game offers a rich 4X wargaming strategy experience featuring a vast array of spells and units. When you start your game, you can decide what type of god you want to be and how your dominion affects your lands, followers, and sacred soldiers. In order to win and become the one true god, you have to defeat your enemies in one of 3 different ways: by conquering their lands, extinguishing their dominion, or claiming the Throne of Ascension. It improves on its predecessor by having scaled up armies, allowing for much larger battles. The game is set in a fantasy world that draws inspiration from historical nations, cultures, and myths. Overall, this is a very deep and complex strategy game set in a compelling fantasy world. However, that does come with a steep learning curve, but if you fancy a challenge and you want to learn the game's mechanics, and you're not too worried about graphics, then this is an amazingly deep title that you will get hours of enjoyment out of. It's rated 88% very positive on Steam and is actually playable on the Steam Deck, though I've never tried that. And finally, on this list we come to Kingdom, Dungeon and Hero. This is a brand new title where you lead your kingdoms, protect your lands and conquer your enemies, all while trying to stop the fallen god Draul, or at least I think that's how you say his name. Kingdom, Dungeon and Hero has a strategy wargaming top layer, but you're also able to recruit heroes and enter dungeons with an RPG style twist. This compelling gameplay builds upon the engine that was used in the strategy wargame Warplan. Alvaro Souza, or Kraken as we know him, is a friend of the channel and he gave me access to this game a long time ago, and me and Tom have a current play by email game that's been going for quite some time. There is some wonderful attention to detail in this title. I've read all the descriptions and I love the world building that Alvaro has brought into his game. It runs amazingly well and I love the UI and the fact that we have a fantasy wargame that runs so incredibly smoothly. And where this game truly shines is the ability to create your own kingdoms, maps and scenarios, allowing for a near limitless gameplay. You're able to play on maps with up to 50 kingdoms while managing resources, diplomacy, armies, and your heroes. Those heroes you can hire to lead armies, govern cities, go on missions, or explore dungeons for gold, magic items, and artifacts. There is a main story-based campaign that you can play through and a number of other scenarios. During my time with Kingdom, Dungeon, and Hero, I had an absolute blast, and I really enjoy what Kraken has done here. My only criticism is that I was left wanting more. I know he was very clear that this is a war game, but sometimes I wanted to leave more of a mark on the land and develop my kingdom. But as a fantasy war game goes, it's a really great product, and I think we should go out and support titles like this with small indie developers creating the products that the big companies just won't make anymore. Kraken, thank you for your support on the channel. I know you gave us Warplan and we had like 400 subscribers, so I really appreciate it, and I love the game you've created here and the passion you've put into it. I've read all of your descriptions, and honestly, you're a really great storyteller. The game's off to a good start with 84% positive rating on Steam, but it only came out on the 1st of July 2024, so we have to let that settle, but it's great to see other people giving it strong feedback. Me and Tom are well into our play by email game, and we're going to finish that one out. It's great fun and we can't wait to complete it. So there we go, LT Gamers, another great list on the channel of fantasy war games. Like I said, I really want your suggestions below, as I'd like to flesh this particular list out to maybe a top 12. Thank you for your continued support. Make sure to like and comment, subscribe if you're new here. Me and Tom love all of the interaction. And as always, I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and I'll catch you on the next one.